It's time now for our Listen Up segment when we debate an issue of public interest. We're focusing in on the sale and use of flavoured e-cigarettes, also known as vapes. Tonight's proposition comes from Sheila Duffy, who's Chief Executive of the charity Ash Scotland, which campaigns against the risks posed by smoking.
Ash Scotland is alarmed by the upsurge in children vaping, and we want government to take action to protect their health. The increase in youth vaping is driven by the popularity of cheap, sweet-flavoured, brightly coloured, disposable e-cigarettes. We believe that banning flavours would reduce their appeal to youngsters, and this issue should concern us all, as nicotine is highly addictive and toxic e-liquids have not been safety tested for inhaling. Children's growing lungs are especially at risk of being damaged over time. Scotland should not allow big business to make big money by targeting addictive, harmful products at our younger people.
And Sheila joins us to debate her arguments with Doug Mutter from the UK Vaping Industry Association. Thanks both for joining us this evening. Doug, so you sell vapes. What do you make of Sheila's pitch?
I agree with aspects of Sheila's pitch around the banning of disposables. The flavour, I think, needs further consideration in looking at the continual evidence that is building. Flavour plays a massive part in moving adult smokers, which is who these products are for, away from regressing back to cigarettes. The youth uptake that has hit us is purely driven by disposable products, which are firstly extremely bad for the environment in a sustainable point of view. Secondly, the market is flooded with a lot of unregulated products. And thirdly, perhaps the most important, the availability of these products is absolutely huge. That needs to be controlled and restricted to proper age-restricted retail premises that can actually ensure that the product is getting into the hands of an adult smoker and staying well away from children.
But on the idea of banning the flavoured vapes, the sweet flavoured vapes, you don't think it should be banned altogether?
I don't know, and there's references from the World Health Organization, WHO, and have acknowledged that flavours seem to play a role amongst adults and experienced ends, so electronic nicotine delivery systems users, in migrating away from tobacco. Okay. Indeed, the University College of London has carried out extensive studies on this, and flavour has a crucial role to play. But I can't state strongly enough that vaping products are for adult smokers. If you don't smoke, don't vape. OK,
let's put this to Sheila then. This is not just about an issue of flavoured vapes. They shouldn't be sold to children in the first place. Is this not a kind of a policing issue? This is a point of sale problem, Sheila.
We do have an issue of point of sale, and there are regular failures among minority of retailers in selling to children. But this is also an issue of marketing. It's an issue of enticing children and young people to experiment with addictive, toxic, health-harming products. And the flavours are unfortunately part of that.
What about that, Doug? It's encouraging kids. And the marketing, the way it's marketed and packaged, it's very colourful. I mean, there's bubblegum flavours. Is that not... You know, that's very appealing to younger people, is it not?
I think flavour's one that can get tarred with a certain brush, but because of vaping and because of the issue we have with youth getting access to these products through retailers that aren't sticking to the rules that are there. But flavour plays a part in adult life massively. We see it through different types of foods, flavourings, sweets, desserts, alcohol. There's flavouring that is part of adult life as well. My biggest concern, and I do agree with Sheila, that the access of these products to youth is frightening and needs thoroughly restricted, licensed and controlled. And there needs to be severe penalties for those who do not stick to the rules.
So, Sheila, you are both agreed on that. And what about what Doug is saying, that the flavour in these flavoured vapes is really instrumental in helping adult smokers give up smoking and turn to vaping instead?
Well, tobacco isn't flavoured. So if you're an adult smoker and you move on to e-cigarettes, then flavourless would presumably be a step up for you. We ended the flavours in tobacco because they were attracting young people to experiment, and that's exactly what's happening with e-cigarettes. Plus, there are real unknowns in these flavourings. So they haven't been tested for cooking and breathing. They've been tested for eating, and they behave very differently in your lungs. And Doug mentioned alcohol, but Scotland put an end to alcopops precisely because they were disproportionately attracting children and young people to experiment with them.
And a couple of points there for you to pick up on, Doug. Alcopops were got rid of precisely because of this reason. And, there's no medical research yet to suggest that the flavours are actually safe.
There is, unfortunately, research there on the flavours, and it continues to grow and develop on the flavours. So there is a full published list that is governed by the MHRA in the UK where products must be tested to a toxicological and an emissions level that is deemed acceptable for inhalation. These products go through that test, and like I say, absolutely, there's a list there that the public can view that trading standards use of regulated products that have been through that testing phase. But there is a big problem with illegal imported disposable products that totally flout all the rules.
Sheila, you're shaking your head there, obviously not agreeing with what Doug's saying there.
Absolutely not. And in fact, there was a very recent study research done by a newspaper on Monday that showed that legally sold e-cigarettes that were advertised as meeting standards in the UK were not, and had half again as much nicotine as they were supposed to. And these additives, these flavourings, have not been tested for breathing, not at all. The MHRA doesn't test them, it lists them. They are listed as food additives, but we know very well that the things that you can eat aren't the same things you can breathe. And we just don't know what these thousands upon thousands of chemicals are doing, how they're changed by being cooked in an e-cigarette, how they change by being mixed in the liquids. We don't know what the health effects of these are, and we don't know what the effects are on children and young people's growing lungs. And they are used to entice experimentation with highly addictive products, which are certainly causing some health harm, and in the longer term could cause really serious major health harms. And that's not to do with illegal products. That's to do with all the products on the shelves. Now, China banned flavours. China banned flavours because of youth initiation and health.
Doug, a quick response to that. We're nearly out of time. Quick response.
I suggest Sheila does some proper research and perhaps gets more in line with the real world evidence that has built there. There are motives for China banning flavours, which are very easy to find, and to find out what China benefits from having tobacco sales, because it is massive revenue for the government. I'd also advise you to check up on the TPD requirements for a product to be tested. Cancer Research UK have it available on their site in terms of flavourings and the testing process to go through. So the evidence is there, but you can choose any path you wish.